midsummer check-in. The Calgary Flames sure didn't do a whole lot this summer. That may or may not be a good thing for the young guns. Are there any of them that can pick up a spot out of camp? We don't know. But Dylan and Chris are about to tell you, or at least we're going to give you our thoughts. You are watching the Armchair GM Podcast.
Before we get into too much Flames talk here, I just wanted to thank everybody who's been watching our shows. I know a lot of you will probably come in from the radio station going under and looking for something new. I hope you have been enjoying the show so far, and don't like to talk about liking and subscribing and all that stuff too much, but it really would help us out a lot. It's crappy circumstances that we have kind of found ourselves in, with a lack of a radio station and all that type of stuff, but it's really been nice that we've gotten quite a few new followers and listeners and watchers over the past a couple weeks. Like, biggest growth the channel's ever seen, so really appreciate it. And let's get into some Flames talk, I guess, unless you wanted to talk about that for a second.
No, there's not a lot I can add to it. I mean, obviously, like you said, it's a odd circumstance given the scenario with the fan. So obviously, there's a lot of Calgary Flames fans that are looking for content or looking for a different avenue to acquire their Flames conversations. And you both, Dylan and I, do appreciate the fact that some of you have turned to us, and hopefully you stick around and we can have a good 26-27 season talking about the Flames. We do like to get into some live watch parties on occasion, so I strongly recommend that you turn on the notification for that, and just in case we're live, you can come in and interact with us. We do like to chat with everybody, ask questions, answer questions, just communicate, and just talk all things Flames and NHL. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. I hope we don't disappoint.
Yeah, it's been quite humbling, so thank you. Let's get into it. So I've done a lot of looking at the Flames depth chart over the past few weeks here, and I feel like the summer can't be over when it comes to making moves and making trades for Craig Conroy. I don't know about you, but it might not happen until later in the summer, until closer to the beginning of training camp or whatever. But I feel like something needs to give here, because there's just not enough room to have right? Like, if you look at Puckpedia's lines, which probably aren't correct, but you have Honzek on the fourth line. I don't think anybody wants Honzek on the fourth line. You have Zary on the third line. Now, chances are Zary would probably be on the fourth line if the summer were to end today, right? But Craig's talked a few times about getting Zary more playing time next season. So I don't know how we can do that if we're still so gummed up with the Huberdeau and the Sharon Goviches and the Farabees and Frost even. And it just seems like Strome, right? It just seems like we've got too many forwards and way too many defenders. Brustevich isn't even on the lineup card, not even as a extra, because he's waiver exempt, so he can just go to the AHL, which I think we'll talk about that a little bit later, but uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a travesty. That's a travesty for the development of Kristevich, in my opinion. He's NHL ready. He's proven it. He needs to be given the chance to just be a 24/7 NHLer now. Like, there's no reason for him to be taking steps back. And if he's taking steps back because of the roster, that's a problem, right? That's a problem.
yeah, I agree, and a lot of people think it's probably time for Zeri to go on to a different team and whatever. I kind of agree to a point. I still think there's something there, and I would hate for
Mhm.
us to have given him the correct amount of chances to see, because right now he doesn't have much trade value. So what are we doing trading him at his lowest trade value, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you are right. He does not have a lot of value at the moment. Obviously, the last 2 years have been very difficult for Zeri, right?
Yeah.
Whether it be injuries, staying in the lineup, or being consistent on a line with line mates. Um, he's had a hard time acquiring the trust of Huska for whatever reason. Some may be warranted. I would say not, certainly not all. I think that's kind of a 50-50 thing when it comes to the two of them.
I agree, yeah.
Um, I, I I really like Zari when he's on. He's really freaking good. My biggest issue is it's very sporadic right now, or at least in the last couple of years. He seems very timid at times, due to injuries. I suspect, he doesn't want to. Like, he's had nothing but leg problems, right? He had it in the A, he's had it in the NHL. I truly think the best thing for the Flames and for Zari as a NHLer and a professional is to move on, get another chance to play in the middle six on another team, show how good he is, and then he can shine. I think he's going to be one of those cases where if he plays another year here, his stock may go up a bit, but I suspect it's going to be pretty much stagnant, especially given our roster right now. I don't think he's going to have a lot of opportunity to move up. And so I think moving him would be the best thing for him and the best thing for the Calgary Flames.
I think it would be as well, to a point. Again, like, the trade value thing is the hardest part of it for me right now, because
Yeah.
you can't always, recoup first round value from a player who was, picked in the first round a few years ago and
Mhm.
hasn't really shown in any consistent fashion except for that first year that he's a first round talent, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not even sure if we'd get a second for him right now. I'd like to at least be able to get something from him, or see that he's in, like, an actual NHL player. Um,
Mhm.
I agree with you when it comes to him not earning the trust of Huska, but both because Huska hasn't really given him a shot, but also because he hasn't earned the shot. I thought he earned the shot coming out of his rookie year, and then he got hurt in his early in that second year, and it's just been injury after injury, and it's been um fourth line center, third line right wing, second line left wing, fourth line left wing. Even after he's had a good game, he still somehow gets demoted, even after he has a really good game. And that just, to me, I think it's fair to say that that's unfair to him, right? If he's
Yeah.
having a good game, why is he getting demoted? There was many times during the season where he was having a good game and looking like 2 years ago, Zeri, and he'd just get demoted halfway through the game, and you're like, well, he's
Yeah,
not going to
where'd he go?
carry on looking this good with fucking Lomberg and Morton. Like, what are we doing here? Um, we need, if we don't move him, we have to move somebody else. We have to give him, like, Huska needs to give him, even if it's third line, you are the third line center, you are the third line left wing for 20 games before we move you. You have this person, at least one line mate who's a consistent line mate for 20 games, if not two. It's just, you can't see what you have in a player if they're not being given the chance to have a consistent enough role, even if it's a minor role, a consistent enough role to actually get comfortable with players or their position. I think the position thing is also really big for him. Leave him at center, leave him at left wing, don't try him at right wing, leave him at center or leave him in left wing. That's it. That's the only chant. Like, those are the only two things that make sense to me.
Yeah, in my opinion, he should be a left winger that obviously is a secondary for taking draws if somebody gets kicked out of the dome.
Yeah. Or
You
if
know,
there's an injury or something. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think he excels at wing. I think he's really good at coming, swooping, up the side and driving the net. I think he's good at that. He's good at protecting the puck. Um,
Or he
yeah,
has
like
been in the
there's
past.
he has been in the past. Yes,
Yeah.
I agree. But like you look at the logjam, right? Like like according to cap wages, Hanzek isn't even on the roster. He's listed in the non-roster. Like
Really?
that's yeah. You know, you got Huberdeau who spent majority of last season not playing, so that gave others a chance to step up, and some kind of did, some didn't. But you look at the roster. You got Huberdeau, you got Coronado, you got Sharon Govich, you got Farabee, Strome, Frost, Zari, Backlund, Pospisil, who I I'm actually quite surprised he hasn't been part of a package so far. You have Klapka, you've got Gradin, and then you have Maxim, the guy we just traded for,
Yeah.
who
Maxim
is also
Siklakov,
going to,
yeah.
yeah. And so, oh,
And Tyson Gross.
and Gross, yes, right.
And Karens, and Suniev. Like, they're going to want to try these guys out. And then near the end of the
You
season,
have to.
they're probably going to bring some of the college guys up, like, why
Mhm.
am I blanking on his name right now? Kolresny or somebody like that, right? Like, they're probably going to want to bring some of these young college guys up out of the college ranks to try at the end of the year. But if the logjam looks like this, where are we going to put them, right? Like,
Yeah,
um,
that's right. Yeah, you
so
got Karens, you got Stromgren, you got Onzak, you got Suniev, you have Gross, and we all know that Dryden Hunt's going to be a guy that they fucking call up. He's
maybe.
he's going to be the one that plays 10 games this year or next season. Like,
Well, didn't I think he only played 2 games last season, but he was up for a while. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with them bringing Hunt up when they need a 13th forward to sit in the press box and play a game if they're on the road and they don't want to bring along, a younger player just to chill or whatever. I'm okay with them leaving those guys in the AHL and having Hunt just sitting in the press box for 82 out of 84 games or something like that. You know what I mean? That's Hunt isn't standing in anybody's way, in my opinion. It's Sharon Govich and Huberdeau and Strome and Frost and Farabee and Klapka and Pospisil. It's like, these guys are, none of them stand out as good enough to to hold any player back in our organization, right? It's not like you need to play Farabee, so you can't play Zeri or Hanzek or Gross or somebody, right? It's not like you
Yeah.
need to have Frost on the team, so you right, like something needs to give. So let me ask you this: if there was one player, and I'm not counting Pospisil because he's what we're looking for is a top 6, top 9 spot, right? So if there was one trade, relatively realistic trade, um, that you would want to do just to get rid of one of these guys, which guy would it be and why?
Um, so yeah, I'm not gonna say Pospisil because he's not top 6. I like having Strom around. I would much rather get rid of Huberto.
Yeah,
Now I know you said realistic, and
yeah.
I do get that. If there's a chance we can retain, there's definitely like any sort of or clauses for no move and modified for Huberto. He would absolutely okay a trade. Like I don't see a world in which you would block any trade coming leaving town.
Pretty much
That
any
being said,
trade. Yeah.
yeah, like I don't think I think that's a non-issue. But is Jonathan Huberdeau worth 5 mil? Probably, I guess, really in today's cap era, but you know,
To me, the Huberto thing is more no team is going to trade for him, even half retained, until they've seen him skating and seen that he can skate it at the NHL level still, because that surgery he had in the off season, like last time Conroy talked about it, around the draft there, he was basically saying like hold your horses on
mm,
Huberto starting the season. We don't know yet. We don't know when he'll be back. We're hoping he'll be back at some point in the early season, but we don't know yet. Apparently he's been skating, but it sounded like he wasn't skating very well. So I don't think any
okay,
team is trading for Huberto, even half retained, until they know
yeah,
if it's a John Klingberg situation or if it's a Patrick Kane situation. Those are two players who had similar surgery, and it took John Klingberg 3 years to get back to even being able to play like 40 games,
and
right?
Klingberg, how old was he when he had it?
Probably about the same age as Huber, though. I'm
Mm.
not sure, but it took him a few years to come back, and then he still had to be healthy scratched some games.
So okay, and I hate to be that guy because I mean I don't wish harm on players in any
No, no,
capacity,
no, no, no.
but that scenario is almost best case scenario for the organization, right?
Is if they can put him on LTIR, and yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I agree with that sentiment. I mean, best case situation is he comes back and has a really strong first half of the season. Looks like he's going to put up a 70-point season, and then we can trade him at 8 mil or something like that to
mhm,
whoever wants to take him, right? Well,
yeah.
I guess we couldn't do that this year because we don't have any retention spots left. I think I could be wrong, but you know, um, for me,
Yeah.
it's not even Huberto because I don't. I think he's going to be in and out of the lineup anyways. Even if he's back skating and he looks all right, I still feel like he's going to be playing like 50 games max type of thing, right?
Yeah.
Because again, that's
Yeah.
not a surgery that guys always come back from, and when they do, they generally look like a shell of themselves, which he already looked like. So what does that look like
A
compounded?
shell of a shell.
A
Yeah. How do
shell
you
of a
put two
shell.
shells? How do you put two shells on a player? Okay, so let's move away from Huberto then, as far as the one guy. So that, in my opinion, leaves us Sharangovich, Farabee, or Zari, right?
or Frost or Strom.
Well, yeah, but then who do we have for center to bring up, right? That's that's the issue with Frost and Strong.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Like I don't want to see Sharon Govich move to the center because he's not
no, definitely not.
fucking good at it. He's pretty bad at it.
Yeah,
Um, I wouldn't mind. Like I agree with you. I think Zeri would be best off on the wing, but if they're giving him 20 games at center to see if he can do it, I'm fine with that. Um, I think
yeah,
they want to find a way to get Gross in as well.
right.
But I mean, Gross is going to be a fourth line center, right? So
Yeah,
you're probably right on
exactly.
that. I just the way I look at it is Frost is probably the player on the forward on the team at least with the most trade value. And I mean, trading him opens up a power play spot for Azeri or Hanzek. It'll open up penalty kill time for Hanzek probably. Um, you know, whether or not those guys are playing center or not is going to somebody else will move it to center
Yeah,
and those guys will all move up a line, right?
yeah, and like I'm far less worried about opening up playing time for Zari. Zari's been here for 4 years. Zari can find his own playing time. I want to open up playing time for people that are listed in the non-roster area, the Karens, the you know,
I want to
the
see.
whole group.
Well,
You
there you
know,
go. Karen's play center,
yeah, yeah,
right?
I like honestly, like I would rather see what we can or what shows of Stromgren than giving Zari a chance at this point, personally. Yeah,
That's
I
fair. I
and I
don't
would.
see much with Stromgren, but I
Yeah,
still want to see, right? But
that's right.
I still want to see with Zeri too. I think he needs to get at like if he's not traded, he needs to get at least one, 15, 20 game run in the
Mhm.
same spot with the same line mates. And then if it's not working from there, then fucking send them to the AHL, like whatever. Trade them,
Yeah,
obviously, but you know, because you don't want to lose them on waivers. But I but like you said, there's always the Karens, Othman, I guess. I'm not super high on Othman,
yeah,
Stromgren, Castagna, Gross, all those guys, right? Like
yeah,
and then
yeah.
near the end of the season, Reshny, Potter
I
coming
really
up.
want to see Reshny at the end of the year.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
me
really
too.
want
And
to
and
see
I'm
him.
sure we will. We probably will.
I think like Castagna and Stuxilius, they're young. They're probably still a year or two out for really breaking through and getting some serious looks as far as playing time. Um, I think I think Gross is probably Gross and likely Karens are the two that are going to come up. Uh, along with Honzek. I think Honzek starts the year on the backline line personally.
I do too. The chances of that, I mean, he looked so good and there when he was playing with Backlund
Mhm.
and Coleman being gone, they're going to want some sort of a shutdown duo, and I feel like it's probably going to be those two and probably Farabee? Question mark.
Christ, Christ, just
Farabee's
oh,
fine as a
you
third
know,
line shutdown guy.
yeah,
Whatever,
yeah,
that doesn't
I
bother
do
me.
agree with that. Yeah, he is. It's tough to. It's tough for me to wrap my head around the fact that he's going to be the guy replacing Coleman. That. That doesn't sit well with me, but that's okay. We're
It
growing
cracks
as a
me up
team.
though, because, and I'm not the only one that thinks this. I know you don't see it, but Farabee's game to me, it doesn't like he's not as good as Coleman, but he has a very, very, very similar play style to Coleman. He's just like a level or two down when it comes to effectiveness at that role. But I still think that his game, I mean, I think his game should be able to translate to
I
playing with the Backland in this in a similar vein as Coleman. Not as good, but in a
I
similar vein
I
as
mean,
Coleman.
I hope that Backlund's able to rub off on another player because for two reasons. One, obviously, if Irby would become a better player.
Yeah,
Number two, his trade value would increase. But I think if we're
Farabee
doing
or Backland?
comparables, Irby,
Okay, yeah, yeah. I'm like, I don't think Backland's going anywhere. That's why.
Backlund's going to retire a thing, and that's a okay in my books.
Yeah,
Um, I think if we're worried about keeping any sort of veteran presence, Backlund's the guy you want. He's going to teach players how to play 200 feet of hockey, and
yeah,
that's great. Um, I think if you're, in my opinion, if you're comparing the Fairby to Coleman, obviously he's not as good at he tries to play that style. He's just like a very clumsy gazelle.
yeah, yeah. Again, he's not as effective. He's just, to me, he's
Yeah,
his game mimics
yeah,
Coleman's, but not as effective.
and,
I've said that like four
yeah,
times now, but
yeah. No, and you cannot fault his desire and his willingness to work and
his
try.
effort, yeah.
Yeah, like I will not fault him at all for now. So
So to
it's
me,
fine.
this leaves Frost is who it leaves. It leaves Frost to be moved. Like you said, Huberto, you think?
Well, I started with Huberdeau, but now that after you talked me off the ledge there with the fact that there's a good chance that he's not going to start the season and likely or potential for him to be sporadic through the season as far as ice time, then I'm okay with him being around more so because
Uh,
you're not going to be able to trade that, as you said, like players or teams are going to want to see him skating.
yeah,
And then I said Farabee, Sharon Govich, and Zari. Um,
okay,
in my opinion, like Sharon Govich will be much more difficult to move because his play hasn't been, hasn't been phenomenal, and his
yeah,
contract is double what what Zari's is, right?
yeah,
Zari has another 2 years at 3,775, where Sharon Govich has 4 more years at 5,775. So I mean, I feel like that's going to be very difficult
yeah,
to move out of there just based on his play since acquiring that contract with his stellar first years of playing. And
yeah.
so, Fairview would be pretty easy to move at 5 mil, I think, to be
I
honest.
think Farabee would
Um,
be easy to move. I think it would be Frost or Farabee for me. Farabee would be number two. I'd want to move Frost first because I think you get a better return.
yeah,
But Farabee also still leaves you with, like, if you move Farabee, it leaves you with the centers that we have, which aren't even, deep or that good. Um,
right.
but then you've moved off a winger, and that kind of moves everybody up a slot and lets you, make sure Hanzek has a full time spot. And, we're not even talking about Maxim Siplikov, who, in my opinion, is probably going to be buried in the AHL before too long. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't, I don't think he's really got a spot on this team. He'll probably play some games, but yeah,
Yeah, I mean, he would have to show some pretty good stuff to be a piece moving forward, in my opinion. So here's a thought,
yes,
like Frost and Farabee, in my opinion, are kind of a package, right? They're a duo.
yeah,
They came together. maybe they should lead together.
I would not hate that. Um, that being said, I what is the cap floor? The cap floor is 76.9, and
Yeah,
we're currently at
88.
89. So yeah, I guess we have
Yeah, we have space.
yeah, I guess we might have some space to remove a couple players here. That wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Um,
Mm,
but yeah, it like, and here's the thing: I'm also not like here screaming, we have to get rid of all these players, like because they suck or whatever. Like some of them aren't the best, but to me, this is about developing the youth and making sure that the youth has, uh, you know,
opportunity.
solid legitimate chance to make the team. Because right now, most of them don't. Um, and
Yeah.
enough ice time to develop if they do make the team.
Well, that's right, and that's simply all it is. Like like I'm a Sharon Govich fan. I know a lot of people are not.
Aren't
They kind of turned on him last year. I get it.
you?
He didn't have
It's
the
you
best
and Mike
year.
Gould and nobody else.
Right. Well, Mike is a wise man. Um,
Me too.
as I told him,
Yeah,
many times. Um,
yeah.
I mean, and we haven't even talked about the logjam at defense, right? Like
Oh,
the
we're gonna
logjam at
get to it.
forward is bad, but it's not as bad as defense. You know what I mean?
Because
Like,
there's more NHL ready youth, like proven to
correct.
be NHL ready youth. So let's move on to that. I'm gonna
Okay.
list off the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 defensemen who are on the roster on Puckpedia, but not just the NHL roster. We have
Okay.
Kevin Ball,
Yep.
Zach Whitecloud,
Mm-hmm.
Yan Kuznetsov,
Mm-hmm.
Simon Nemec,
Yep.
Zane Perek, Jacob Middleton, Braden Pahal,
Yep.
Joel Hanley.
That one stings. I
And
know
we
he's going to be the guy on the bench. I heard in the press box. I get it, but
yeah.
still. Yep.
So that leaves Hunter Brustevich. Again, we talked about this a little bit earlier, but we'll get into it more now. It leaves Hunter Brustevich, who, in both of our eyes, I believe, has more than proven he's an NHL ready defenseman. He's proven he's probably ready for a real shot at second pairing minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's not bad defensively at all. He's got some offensive pop, but he's a fairly good defender. I've heard lots of people like crapping on his skating, and I really have not seen a whole
No.
lot of that. Like maybe one or two instances. He played a bunch last year, and I think maybe one or two mistakes pop out. Like for a rookie defenseman, that's pretty damn good, in my
Yeah.
opinion. We absolutely need to make room here, and I don't mean trading Braden Pahal or Joel Hanley just so Bruce Devich can sit in the press box,
Yeah.
because that's bad, right? Like I'd rather have him in the AHL playing than being in the press box, but I think that it sends a horrible message that an NHL ready defenseman is playing in the AHL on a rebuilding team. That sends an
Yeah.
awful message.
Yeah. No, agreed. And honestly, obviously White Cloud came in last year and quickly became a bit of a fan favorite for good reason.
Yeah.
He's played well. He's a really good human being. Those are the types of players I want on my team. I don't know much about Jake as far as being a human. He's another veteran. He seems funny as hell in his interviews. It seems like he'd be a great time, but one of those two is one of those two needs to stay, one needs to go, or both need to go. I mean, I'm okay with that as well. But I feel like because you have White Cloud, we did need Middleton. Is that fair?
Yeah. And
And
like
they're both basically the same age.
I'm a
Um,
big fan of what Craig has been doing mostly because he has been kind of subtracting veterans, but he keeps bringing more in at the same
yeah,
time. Like, yes, he at first we were looking at the Coleman trade, and we're like, oh, we're trading Coleman and Mata. This is awesome. Well, why are we bringing back another defenseman? Right? Like,
yeah.
I no shade thrown at Middleton. He's a fine
No, not at
bottom
all.
pair defenseman. He's very going to be great in the locker room, all that type of stuff. But this team is in a like part of their winning cycle where they don't need that, right? They
Yeah,
need to be developing these young players. You still need vets, right? You still need vets to train and teach these young players, right? And right now we're looking at basically White Cloud and Middleton being the only vets. You could kind of call Kevin Ball, I guess, a vet.
yeah.
You
I
could
would put him in there
definitely
now.
call Joel Hanley a vet, but
Yeah,
he's just going to be sitting there in the press box, right?
yeah,
So it to me, like you should have two or three vets back there, but we also need to make sure we have room for Perek and Nemitz and Kuznetsov and Brstevich in my estimation.
well, that's right. And when we're going to see Abram leave, when
Exactly.
does
I
he
mean,
get a chance to come and have a look? Like
yeah,
there's they need to open up space, right? There needs to be a fire sale, at the dome before opening day, in my opinion. And
yeah,
I said that right, a fire sale.
yeah,
I said,
I got what you said there.
okay,
I
wasn't
think
sure.
I think I would really like how this especially because we're rebuilding, how the defense lineup would look if White Cloud wasn't there. And I really like White Cloud as a player. I also
Yeah,
think him and Frost are the two guys on the team that will probably bring you the most uh when it comes to like veterans being traded.
yeah.
Um but
White Cloud at 275 is a steal.
oh, White Cloud could easily be a $6.5 7 million player with
Yeah,
his you know
100%.
his
Yeah,
quality of play and
yeah.
defensive prowess, and just his overall leadership abilities. But like, how does this sound to you? White Cloud's out of the picture. Ball, Nemitz, Kuznetsov, Perek, Brstevich, Middleton.
Um, if that is opening day, yeah, I'm happy with that.
Yeah,
I like those pairings, and I like the fact that, yeah.
it's also left, 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 right, right, right.
Oh, good point.
Which
That's
is
interesting.
because if we trade
Yeah, you're right.
Middleton, we're
It
going to
is. Well
need to
done.
put or Ball, which we won't. But if we trade one of those guys, we're going to have to put Brstevich on the left or Perek on the left. They say he likes it over there, or whatever, but like not every player is like, and he was pretty good there at the end of the season, but also,
Mhm.
yeah.
He's
Is that where we're going
he's
to have him long term, or are we going to fuck him around
yeah.
like Zary and make him switch sides every other game?
Well, we just give him the TJ Brody treatment,
What, staple
who
him to the
actually was
captain?
better. Yeah, who uh, who actually was better on his offside. But
Yeah.
that's okay. That's
Yeah, or you could give him the Uyghur treatment, who everyone was like, "Oh, he's so good on his offside," but he was actually far better not on his offside.
Right.
He was fine on his offside, but also
Which is better
not a
on
lot
his
of players
natural
can
side.
do that, man. Not a lot of players can do that. And it
Mm.
takes a different mindset because of the way you take pucks off the board and because of where your stick is when you're defending down the ice, right? It takes an extra, fraction of a second to flip your stick over to be able to seal off the boards.
Yep. Yeah, there are reasons you get a left and a right paired up. There are
Usually.
absolutely generally there are reasons for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So effectively what you're saying is we need to trade 5 players before any of the young guys get a call up.
5 players. No, I think we need to trade one forward and one defenseman off of the everyday roster. Like,
Mhm. Mhm.
I'd prefer 2 forwards and a defenseman, but I feel like one defenseman and one forward would be good enough for the guys who deserve to be there and deserve to be given the shot to get some ice time. Yeah.
Yep, that's fair.
And
Yeah,
to me, it should be White Cloud again, who I like, and either Frost or Farabee. Unless you can find a way to trade Sharangovich for value. I don't think he carries negative value. I don't think he's untradeable. I think he's actually quite tradable. I just think you're looking at like a 3rd or 4th round pick. I don't think you're looking at a lot
yeah,
for him.
yeah.
Kind of in the same as Zeri. You're probably looking at a 3rd, 4th round pick for either of them. Whereas if you're trading Frost or Farabee, I think you're getting like early 2nd, late 1st type of a thing, right?
Yeah, I would say for Frost, I would find it difficult to have Farabee in that same.
I think Farabee's more of the second
Yeah,
second
mid
round pick
second.
type of guy. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Just I mean, Frost is going to garner more,
As a center.
because he's a center, and and he's only got one more year on his contract, right? Those types of things I think are desirable for teams, unless I mean, I guess it's tough to say, right? If it's not a contender, they would probably rather there be 3-4 years in a contract. But if they are a contender, they probably just want the 1 year so they can make their push and then exit or figure something out later with it.
So here's a question for you. We're looking at a few guys entering the last year of their deals.
Okay.
We're looking at Yan Kuznetsov being extension eligible here, I believe.
Mhm.
He's got 1 year left at 812,000, which is, I feel like you could probably pretty easily justify giving Yan a 2.5 million, $3 million contract after his last year.
Yeah, I was going to say triple his contract, in my opinion.
Yeah.
800,000 is a pretty damn good contract for what he contributed to the Flames last year.
Yeah. Adam Klapka, 1.25 for a 4th liner who should probably stay on the 4th line, but I think is a perfectly capable 4th liner. I think
Mhm.
you could probably extend him, maybe give him like a $200,000 raise or whatever, and I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, yeah, keep it under 2.
So Morgan Frost and Ryan Strome are the other two who are entering the last years of their deals. Also, Pahal and Hanley, but whatever, and
Right.
Siplikov, but those are all whatever. Frost and Strome are the other two guys here, and I personally, like, you need the center You need the center depth. You need centers on your team. But I feel like, I mean, we spent a 7th round pick to get Strom. I feel like he's already worth a fourth or fifth, or sorry,
Mhm.
a fourth or third to trade. And I would have a really hard time believing that we don't flip him at the deadline and get somewhere in the neighborhood of a third.
Yeah,
Um, I don't want to like. I like him as a player. I like him as a
yeah,
story. I like him as a leader on the team. But I also don't want to see them give a 33-year-old an extension.
correct. Yes, this is not the time to be giving, you know, 30+ year olds any sort of contracts. They
Yeah,
really so. Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. You know, let him play out his contract. You know, trade him at the deadline, and you know, thanks for your service. You know, he came in, he's shown very well. He did really well last year. He was fun to watch. You know, he made his line mates better. I mean, he's good in all three zones. You know, I grew to like Strom through the season. I didn't know a lot about him. I mean, I knew a bit about him, but not a lot.
yeah,
But he's a damn good hockey player, and I think he would be a good fit for another team next year.
yeah. Honestly, I feel like he'd be a good fit for an extension if we were a team who was a playoff team.
Yeah,
Not
agreed.
not a long extension, like maybe a year or two, but
Yeah, he's
yeah, he'd
already
be a great
33.
third line center and leader on a competitive team, in my opinion. I bet Anaheim
Yeah,
wishes they still had him because they are about to lose Gauthier and whoever else. Um,
he fills the position for a team that just lost um, Coleman, right?
yeah,
He fills that same role, in my opinion, right? Third line, obviously he's a center, but um, you know, play the minutes, goes to work, doesn't complain. You know, it just kind
leads.
of just fits it.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, so let's talk about Frost. We've spent a lot of time talking about Frost today, but so 1 year left at 4.375 million.
Mhm.
He I believe he has a no movement clause, no trade clause, modified
So
no
much.
trade clause,
Yeah.
18 no trade list. So you can trade him to 2/3, or sorry, 3/4 of the league. So lots of teams to trade Morgan Frost to. There's been lots of rumors. None of them from like reputable sources, in my opinion, at least none that I've seen.
Trust me, bro.
But trust me, bro. Uh, but what do you think? Like, do you think it's worth, because we don't really have centers? Do you think it's worth extending him um if we've traded Strom at the trade deadline? Do you think it's worth giving Frost an extension, or do you think we should trade him too?
So we've got Gross and Karens as centers potential. Um,
Yeah, I think you'd want Karen's on the wing, kind of like Zeri, but he can play center.
yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah, you know, and then who else we got? Like Sam Morton at
At the
26.
end
Like,
of the
is he gonna
season,
get it?
Rashni will be a center.
Yeah. And is this his last year in college?
I think he could probably go for another year if he wanted to, but if we sign him at the end
Mhm.
of the season to and he plays some games, then he can't go back to college.
Right.
He could go to the
Right.
A, but he couldn't go back to college. If he's under an NHL, if you're under an NHL contract, you can't go back to college.
Yeah, that makes sense. Um, that makes sense. And um, how old is he's 19? He's still pretty
Rashni,
young. I
19
think
or
he's under.
20.
Yeah, I think he's under 20, but So I mean, he's potentially another year or two out, anyways, a couple of years, so that's fine. Um, I don't know. I think it depends on how he shows. Obviously, the way he finished the season is great after we got rid of Kadri and he was kind of put into the position in a time in which teams it was a weird time for him to excel, right?
The end
Half
of
the
the
teams
year is
mailing it
always,
in. Yeah,
you got
half
to
the
be
teams you
careful.
play against are mailing it in. But I mean, did he look good? Yeah, of course he did. Did he take hold of the opportunity that was given to him? 100%. But I'm going to need to see a bit more to start the season. If he can continue playing in that same way, then I say yes. If no, then he needs to also find a new team at the deadline with Strom.
So here's the thing about that.
Mhm.
If he starts plays, let's say 30 games,
Mhm.
the same way he ended last season, that possible late first round pick that
Mhm.
we could get for him right now becomes
Yeah,
a
middle,
first, a third, and a prospect,
correct.
right?
And I'm a okay with that move.
But we could also extend him for a couple years and then trade him in the offseason or trade him the
Mhm.
next year or something. But then you're banking on that 30, 40 games or whatever being
Mhm.
what he is for the next couple years.
Yeah,
Don't know. Don't know what to do there.
yeah.
Um,
Like I'm okay with the first scenario you said, where potentially the third in a prospect or some sort of package, or like a sign and trade or that sort of thing. Like I'm not saying give him the extension and he's a Calgary Flame for life,
no, absolutely not.
but I also don't think we should just get like not extend him if we're not going to trade him. Like obviously, there's no reason to lose an asset like that, right?
Yeah,
Like I'm not looking for a long term with him. I mean, maybe a 3 year. I mean, he's getting up there. Like I don't want
what
35
is
year
he?
old players on
27.
contract. He is yes, sir, 27.
So a 3-year extension
Yeah.
past this year, right? That'll take him to 31. That's still a tradable asset. It's not like you're just all of a sudden pooched when you're 31, right? Not most guys, anyways. Some guys
Yeah,
are, but
I
um,
was.
well, yeah, you were pooched the day you were born.
Ouch. So much hatred. So much hatred.
What would you expect from me? Um,
That's it. Yeah, good point.
yeah, I don't know, man. I'm curious what everybody who's listening thinks. Like, let us know what you want to see the Flames do with Morgan Frost and with Farabee and all the guys we've been talking about today. All of the guys who are either on expiring deals or on the trade block or White Cloud, whatever. Like, let us know what you think in the comment section down below.
Hmm. Yeah. Who should stay? Who should go? Who should get a chance from the A to start the season with the Calgary Flames, or at least play 10, 15, 20 games through the season?
Yeah.
Who deserves that opportunity? What are your thoughts on Brustevich? What do you think his role is with the Flames moving forward? Mhm. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. There's it really is, right?
Yeah, I'm
These are the times where I don't envy Conrad because there's a lot of tough decisions he needs to make.
there's a lot of tough decisions he needs to make, and I'm a little worried about the Brstevich situation. I'm not so worried. I'm not really worried about any other current situation the Flames have. I'm worried that Brustevich doesn't start in the NHL and he takes that personally
Mhm.
or whatever, because I think it's well established that he should be in the NHL. And yeah, just like I said at the beginning, it sends an awful message to have a young player who is obviously NHL ready and played most of his season last year in the NHL on a
Yeah,
rebuilding team, not in the
yeah,
NHL.
yeah. Agreed. Yeah, yeah. Hunter deserves to play in the NHL this whole season and moving forward, unless something drastically changes in his game plan.
Yeah, and it
No,
also
and
sends a horrible message not only
yeah,
to him but to other players in the system.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
We had a few
Henry
players walk
Muse looks
this.
at that, right?
Yeah,
Other young players, Cole Reshney will look at that and be like, "Oh well, am I even going to get a shot to play in the NHL, or are they going to keep bringing veterans in so I can't?"
yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah. Exactly. Yeah, it does show. And like I said, we lost some players from the A or from the organization this summer. Not saying that that was why, but nothing of urgency. I
Yeah,
guess we'll say. I'm not too worried about the players who did, but you also don't want to start a trend.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, and the guys we lost in the A aren't really, in my opinion, anyone to be worried about.
Yeah,
Most of them were just AHL veterans who are no just playing in the AHL and aren't ever going to really have, like Martin Firk, right? Guys like that who aren't really ever going to become much at the NHL level. Um,
yeah.
so I'm not really overly worried about that. But yeah. Anyways,
Let's wrap it.
let's wrap it. Thanks again, everybody, for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe and all that good stuff. I promise that I won't be saying that at the beginning of every episode. We always say it at the end of every episode. That's just yeah, yeah. Not gonna do that at the beginning of every episode, just this one.
You you just looked at the views in the last video and it got your heart strings pulled and you're
Yeah, it
feeling
was
emotional and you wanted to just say thanks.
yeah, I was super, super pumped about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
So thank you, everybody. Um, and yeah, go Flames, go. Cheers.
Go Flames. Cheers.